Hello and welcome to this demo video. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain to you a few things which will relate to all of the basic range spreadsheets. Number one, there is a key on the intro and setup tab of all of the spreadsheets showing what the different color headers mean. The blue headers mean that the cell's formulated, so it's locked and you can't change it. The yellow headers are where you can input data. And occasionally there might be some gray headers, which is just a different kind of data input, but we'll include instructions as and when that happens. The other thing that you can be aware of is there are ways in which you can damage the spreadsheet. So please do take a look at the link where you see this image, which will take you to a web page to show you how to better preserve your spreadsheet. Please feel free to keep a blank version of the spreadsheet somewhere, so that if you do mess up a spreadsheet that you're using, you can in fact just open a new one, a blank one. And some of the spreadsheets only last for a year, and then you've got a blank one to start the following year. So do keep a blank copy as a backup somewhere. And lastly, wherever you see this image, you can click on it. It'll take you back to the store where you purchased this product to see if you've got anything, any more products. One last thing, to see a demo video, you can click on this on a link that looks like this in order to go to the demo video, but that'll take you to the most recent demo. If in fact we've done upgrades and you're using an older version and you'd like to see the demo relating to your version, then do click on the watch on YouTube link, which will take you to that specific video on YouTube. So I think that's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's move on to this demo video. Thank you.
Right, hello and welcome to this demo video for the time and expense tracker. So what this does is really it just tracks all of your jobs. You can put in expenses and time. If you're someone who is working on projects, obviously your time is valuable and you want to track how much time you spent on the projects. And also if you have expenses, if there's monetary values that you're paying out or whatever against each job, you can assign it and get an overall view of where you are. First and foremost, setting things up. There are spaces for 3 fees. Now what fees are essentially are just values that are coming off every project. So you might have a certain percentage of the project coming off, say for PayPal fees or something like that, or you might have a set fee of £20 per project. That's just the default, that you don't want to have to go and add into every single project, put it one against every single project. You can put it at the top here. So up to 3, just name the fee, fee 1, 2, and 3, put in the percentage, and the fixed amount. You can change these names, you can change the percentage fixed amount. So if it's just a percentage, just put the percentage in. If it's just a fixed value, put the fixed value in, or you can put in a percentage and a fixed value if both are applicable to that particular fee. Hourly rate, what's an hour value, what an hour of your time valued at? Essentially that's what's going in there. And then the days to pay. That's not particularly important. It's just how many days do you normally give your clients, 30 days, 60 days to due immediately. This will just check and see. It'll take how long clients normally pay and see whether they're usually on time or not. As I said, it's not vitally important, but handy to put in. Once you've set that up, you can go across to the project list, and then there's a time and expense. Let's start with a project list. So you can set up a project. Each project has its own line. Here you can see the fees that you've set up, 1, 2, and 3, whatever you've called them. Project number, give every project a unique number. Name, project name. Details, you can put whatever in there. So you might just put project 1. You might have a different kind of project. You can just put whatever the type of job it is. That's up to you. Start date, put in the date when the project actually starts, and put in a due date at the beginning when the project is actually due. And then the quote value and times. As you can see at the top here, those are allocated values, quote value and time. Time is how long do you plan to spend on the project. So if you plan to spend 10 hours, put 10 hours in. If you plan to spend, say, 40 hours, put 40.00. What you don't want to do is just put 1 for 1 hour, because it will take 1 day, 24 hours. So you want to actually put the 2 dots in there to separate hours from minutes. Once you've done the time, budget, you can put in a budget, whatever budget you feel is necessary. Now, this isn't budget as far as time is concerned. Your time will multiply out by your rate. This is budget for actual money that you want to spend on the project. And then what you can do is, here you see fees 1, 2, and 3. So you can tick which projects are with which fees. So if, for example, one project doesn't have a particular fee, just leave it unchecked. So if whichever of these fees apply to each project, just check the relevant column. In order to do that, just select the tick from the drop-down list. If you leave it blank, it won't take it, or alternatively, if you really want to make a point, you can select a cross just so that you know that you haven't included those fees. A cross or a blank will do the same thing. This is your completed column. This you only fill in as and when the project's complete. So when the project's complete, you put the date when you complete it, and you'll see if you complete it on the exact date it's due, it'll turn yellow. If you complete it late, it'll turn red. Early will turn green. And then you can put in the date when you fully paid, and that will check to see if it's within the number of days that you said you ought to be paid on the settings. And as you can see over here, these will update as you update the time and expenses, which I'll get to in a minute. But your time on each project will update, your expenses in each project will update. It'll work out your hourly rate, your achieved hourly rates. In other words, if you've worked so many hours and you've spent so much, how much have you actually earned per hour so far? And you can actually see, where you are on the hourly rate as far as what you actually achieve in the job. Because sometimes you might set out to achieve £30 an hour, but you may only achieve 26. Sometimes you might set out to achieve 30, you might achieve 40. So that shows you what you've actually achieved. But this will obviously change as you work on the project. Your total cost for the project, your total cost, i.e. that your expenses plus your time at the rate, that's what it's cost. That's what you quoted, so you're £50 under, £58 over, so on and so forth. So these will all calculate as you go along. Yellow if you bang on, green, or in fact, I think it might be green as well. You're not sure, you'll have to see. But red if you're over, or green if you're under. That will all update as you go along. So all you need to do as you proceed on each project. This is only when you want to add a new project. When you're working on projects, you come into the second tab. Select the project number. That will then populate to show you the details of that project. Put in the date, description of the work you've done, or whatever you've bought, or whatever it is that you need to do, and then just time and expense. So you can either put time and expense in the same line, or you can put time and then you can come down to just time, no expense, or you can put just expense, no time. That's totally up to you. But whatever you put into this screen, if you put in all the details here, it will in fact update these figures and update your report. So let's go and take a look at the report. So here's your report. The report, you've got all your total figures at the top here, which basically just show the total quoted value, total cost value, all the rest of it. So you've got all your total values. Here you've got your graph showing your budget versus your breakdown of expenses, and your based on your average figure or based on your total figures of all the jobs. Here you've got your average figure, so you can see what you're doing on average per job. And then at the bottom here, you've got the final graphs. Now, these don't look particularly exciting here, but obviously as you do more and more jobs, they will change. Payment, percentage paid on time versus paid late. You've got your difference, negative difference between positive difference. These are all completed jobs. Here you've got your time taken, within time or out of time, and your budget, within budget or out of budget. So you'll see a breakdown of red and green. Obviously, the more green you get, the better you're doing. The more red you get, you're going over budget, so on and so forth. So you've got your different payment types based on whether they were done on time or done late. So this report all updates as you go along. You can have a look through with a fine-tooth comb at all those figures and see what they're doing. But essentially, you want to add in information here on your time expense as it happens, and your project list. You want to update your projects as you put in new projects. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about this, and wish you all the best with this. Just one last thing: if you want to remove any data, don't delete or remove cells or move anything. Just highlight what you want to remove, right-click, and clear contents, and then you can resort again. Use the clear contents in order to remove any data that you want to remove. So that's that for the time and expense tracker, and I wish you all the best with your projects. Thank you and goodbye.